ready to chug some beers and make some bad gambling picks. Welcome to ChuggieBets.
I have a serious question to ask you guys. It's serious because it isn't 2013 anymore. You're not using your Blackberries. You're not updating your MySpaces. You're not doing any of this. So is Joe Flacco good? Because 10 years ago, Joe Flacco was real good. Yesterday, Joe Flacco looked pretty good. And I don't know how to digest any of this information. Is he what the Browns needed to get them over the hump? I don't know what to do here.
So I think when it comes to quarterback, you've got like two different aspects of that can make a quarterback good. You've got above the shoulders and below the shoulders. And the above the shoulders part like doesn't go away unless you get, multiple concussions or something, right? Like that's not going away. And then the below the shoulders part, like as long as you don't have a catastrophic injury, like I think the big part why these guys retire, the ones that do, then you've got your Brady's and Rodgers that just play forever, but the ones that retire, it's because they don't want to go through OTAs and training camp and preseason and 18 weeks of the regular season. Like it's just too much. It adds up. But if you get to sit on your couch for 80% of that and then just pop in when, somebody's shoulder falls off, I think you can look good for a short period of time.
I think so. When Bill Clinton was testifying with the Monica Lewinsky trial, and they asked him a question, and he said, "It depends on what your definition of is."
I do remember
That's how I feel about is Joe Flacco good? It depends on what you mean by good. Is he good in is Joe Flacco elite? Are we bringing that question back? No, he's not. He's not.
I don't know.
He's not.
Take it for how
He's
you
not.
want.
No, he's not. If
Okay.
it's
Say it one more time.
He's not. Is he good in that he is able to literally come off of the street and play well? Like hell yeah, that kicks so much ass. But it's a different question, right? So
is it cooler to be able to be the guy who's elite or the guy who can come off the street and just play?
way cooler to be the guy that comes off the street. He's basically Poochie, from The Simpsons or whatever. They bring him in, and then he's like, I gotta go back to my planet, and he's gone.
He just goes.
Cool sunglass wearing, skateboarding dog. Hell yeah.
I wonder what Flacco's workout routine has looked like. Like, is he still hitting the gym multiple times a day?
But he's the guy that walks around and basically spends that time checking out hot young ass. He's grabs some dumbbells and does this and then puts them down and walks over and does the Bowflex thing for a few. Head always on a swivel. That's for sure his workout regimen.
Well, that's how he knows where the pressure is coming from. He always keeps that head active in all situations, right?
Crucial.
I got a different question for you. Is Joe Flacco handsome?
For the longest time I would have said no, but I will say now, yes. He's got that silver fox thing going for him, like a grizzled vet.
Yeah, he usually got the stubble going. I think he's a handsome man.
He's got a stupid smile. If you could make him have a normal smile, it's like he doesn't have lips, right?
But
I feel like he rarely smiles.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. Now he doesn't smile because life has beaten him into submission. Yeah, so now he's more handsome.
I told my wife that once. I was like, I think I'm more handsome when I don't smile, and her response just cut me to the core. She was like, "Yeah."
Thanks,
honey. She's like, yeah, that's why I'm a bitch to you all the time. No,
probably.
That's why I like you when you're so joyless.
Yeah, exactly.
No, he doesn't have enough lips, I think, is the problem, and he gets that receding, and he has too much gum to tooth ratio.
Yeah, he's got big teeth.
Nice.
He's got big teeth, is what it is.
Gum to tooth ratio is a ratio we don't talk about enough.
It's very important.
Yeah.
Sorry.
So since we're on the topic of quarterbacks, I just want to say this isn't a question so much as a little airing of grievances here, but I am so pissed the Jets couldn't manage to win 2 more games so we could actually put to the test this total horse shit about Aaron Rodgers coming back from a torn Achilles in like 6 weeks. Like, oh my God, that would have been so good to see him like try to get out there and fail miserably. I'm all about the Aaron Rodgers slander. So I'm upset that that's just gonna like be brushed aside. No one's gonna even remember that the dude thought he could come back from a torn Achilles in 2 months.
What happened with Zach Wilson in that game the other day? He was playing, then he wasn't injured, then he just wasn't playing anymore.
He's not going to be a Jet. He's not going to be a Jet by the offseason, if not like before then. Like he and Robert Saleh, I think, just despise each other. He does the whole like, I think I'm too injured to play thing because he doesn't want to play because he doesn't want to look bad. I don't know. So I think it was some of that.
He looked bad. He looked real bad.
He was getting dry humped into the ground.
He's never not looked bad.
Yeah. The Dolphins were messing him up.
Well, their line is bad. That Jets line is terrible.
Yeah.
He would do a play-action play. It was like they were trying to hurt Zach Wilson. He would do these long, delayed play-action plays, turn around after selling it, and there were like three
Zach
guys.
Sealer, Chubb, yeah.
And then he would just throw it into their face mask for an incompletion. He's like, that's all I got. That's the move, baby.
If Al's right that Robert Saleh hates him, then it
looks like
it could have been intentional.
He's going to make a lawsuit, like intent to do bodily harm.
Speaking of quarterbacks, I need to provide a mea culpa. I don't know if you guys remember this, but I think it was before week 1 of the season. I came on this podcast and I said, I feel like more now than at any point that I can remember, it feels like every team has a quarterback, or like maybe he's not the guy, but at least he has a chance to be the guy. And then now I look around and like some of these guys we are rolling.
Well, I will say, I think like
so wrong.
8 starting quarterbacks went on IR this year. Like there's been so many injuries.
Yeah, I guess that's part of it, right?
Which is crazy. Rodgers, right, that's at a position that the league is actively trying to like keep healthier than every other position.
Yeah.
You know what's interesting? Of the guys you think would, in this conversation, the guys you're surprised are not the guys. Baker Mayfield may be the guy. Like that was one of the ones that was like, he's probably not the guy, right? If this theory out, he's probably not going to be.
I need to see like that meme of like the guy wiping his glasses, where like first he looks and it's Baker Mayfield, then he wipes his glasses and it's Gardner Minshew.
Yeah,
so those two dudes are identical.
They're very.
And this has been Al Explains Memes.
Multiple memes. He's been great at it.
But I mean, honestly, I think they have very similar styles, very similar skill sets, very similar ceilings, very similar facial hair. You know, they just seem like they could honestly be the same guy, or like the Mexican soap opera version of the, Days of Our Lives. To and fro. Anywho.
Speaking of the Days of Our Lives, welcome to ChuggieBets. I'm Andy, that's Matt, that's Al. We're going to give you some great picks for Week 16 of the NFL season. We'll commemorate the teams that have been eliminated. But first, let's review.
Cheers.
Is that a special edition Flanagan's Cup? The pink one?
They have these every October for Breast Cancer Awareness Month. So 11 months of the year, you go to Flanagan's, you get the green cup. October, you get the pink one.
Awesome. I'm super excited. And the new Grand Theft Auto that they're making a mock Flanagan's for the Florida edition. That's tremendous.
I was so happy when you sent that. That's amazing.
It's the best. We deserve
it. How far north does Flanagan's go? It doesn't go north of like Jupiter, right?
Let me bang that for you.
I have no idea because I have one 2 blocks north of my house.
Oh,
so I can literally walk to it.
I love Flanagan's and I love Beef O'Brady's, and those are like Florida chains that do not exist up here.
My wife used to work at Beef O'Brady's, and I don't know why, but that name just feels really unappetizing to me as well. Like Beef O'Brady's. Like I don't know.
The furthest north Flanagan's is in West Palm Beach.
Yeah.
Oh, when you come down.
Oh yeah, dude. Okay, yeah. When we're doing the golf trip, we'll go watch some playoff football at Flanagan's and get some rib
Flanagan's.
rolls, some pitchers, some wings. Hell yeah.
That's the only thing I don't like about Flanagan's is the guy's voice in the commercial.
Oh, I love the big
Flanagan.
voice.
I don't know why he mispronounces it. He doesn't pronounce it correctly.
Oh.
All right. Last week we had a very good week. Danny and Al both one game above 500 at 4-3. Congrats, boys. And then I was 2 games above 500, 5-3, as a collective of 15-12. So not a bad week. Definitely beating the vig, making you a little bit of money. Go buy your wife or your girlfriend something nice for Christmas. So before we get to this week's picks, let's talk a little bit about the teams who have officially been eliminated from playoff contention. There are 6 of them. We will give you a compliment sandwich for each one. Boys, I'm going to ask that you help me out. We're going to go good thing, bad thing, good thing for each team. First team that has been eliminated is New England.
Ooh, I want to go.
Go for it, buddy.
Go for it, bud.
Congratulations on finding the QB2 of the future in Bailey Zappi. I think it's pretty firm. You know what you got there. Quality backup, always important to have one of those. I'm so sorry that Bill Belichick has done this to you. And to put a little bow on the end, because it's not all bad, at least Matt Patricia is no longer working for the Patriots. If anyone watched that Monday night collapse by the Eagles, that's actually where Matt Patricia is these days, with the interim DC position.
He is, and when they promoted him, my boss is a huge Eagles fan, so he was telling me this on Monday. Apparently, they went to Darius Slay ahead of time, and we're like, "We know you hate this guy. Like, if we promote him, is it going to be okay?" And he's like, "Yeah, sure." And then he went and got a knee surgery that he didn't tell anybody about, and he's out. So, take that for what you will, but
oh, he's such a prick.
Matt Patricia or Darius Slay?
Matt Patricia. Darius Slay is great.
At least he's on the defensive side of the ball now. It was worse when he was the offensive coordinator last year.
Why? Whoever thought that was a good idea?
Bill Belichick, the GOAT.
Guys, I'm sorry.
Man, what an awful sandwich. I love sandwiches, and I would not eat that sandwich.
I think it's important I want to make sure I bring this up, and then I will do the Carolina sandwich here. But did you guys see who I was interviewing to be the offensive coordinator for the Iowa guys?
I didn't hear a name, but I did see an allusion to the OC needing to, I don't know what was it, score the Iowa way or get on the same page with how Iowa, I don't know, wants their offense.
Exactly. The question was on 3rd and 4, what do you do? Run or nothing? Like those are the 2 options. Can you punt it down early? It's Joe Philbin is widely considered to be the offensive coordinator coming at Iowa. That makes me laugh. I'm sorry.
Does Kirk want to not be the oldest guy on campus anymore? Like who's he getting for a DC? The Crypt Keeper?
Yeah, Joe Philbin legitimately looks like one of the pilgrims painted in the Pilgrim painting, but he's still alive. Like he was 70.
Honestly, he might be older than Regis Philbin.
R.I.P. Regis.
He's only 62. Wow. That can't be right.
He's been 62 for 30 years.
He's
a vampire.
62 when he was coaching the Dolphins.
He looks like Rick Scott.
But like an older version somehow. Sorry, I will go to Carolina now.
Oh, you're good. That's great news.
Carolina. It's not the worst city. I actually kind of dig Charlotte. Charlotte seems pretty cool. David Tepper is legitimately the worst owner in sports. You like to stick your nose in everything. You build a practice facility 50% of the way and then just canceled it. So you not only lost the money, but you don't have a good practice facility. You drafted Bryce Young against everyone's better judgment. You're the worst, dude. And at least you have a famous toastery. I heard their breakfast is really good there. So kudos, Carolina. We'll see you next.
Yeah, have a mimosa flight, drown your troubles.
Is Dan Snyder out?
Mhm.
Is
Yeah.
he out of Washington? He's not an owner anymore. Okay, he was
Yeah, he's
forced
sold.
out.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I think you're right. Then Dave Tepper is the worst.
He's the worst. I've heard stories about him like everything he touches turns to shit. Like he's the opposite of King Midas. He's like King Shitus. I don't know what the reference is there, but he's
I was
awful.
trying to think of it. Yeah, that's a good one. King
They
Shitus.
built a practice facility like in a different state in South Carolina, in Rock Hill, South Carolina, which is not that far, but it's not that close. And then he just like
Yeah.
canceled the plan. I'm like, you spent so much money, just finish the shit. Like you're a professional fucking sports organization. Sorry.
That field is dog shit too. Like especially in the cold, it's like playing on concrete. So somehow, like Washington, I thought was the worst at all of these things, and all of a sudden, it's like Carolina's the best thing that's happened to Washington. It's like everyone forgets how shitty that whole franchise is because Carolina's showing them up.
Love it. All right, the next team. I'm so sad that this team is eliminated. It breaks my heart. The dirty, stinking Jets of New Jersey have been eliminated from playoff contention after a rousing performance against the Miami Dolphins.
The short-lived fandom that was. All you guys, so for the uninitiated, our buddy Joey is a big Jets fan. He's been pretty down on the team this year, and so everyone decided that all of you Dolphins fans were going to root for the Jets when the Jets played the Dolphins in the hopes that you'd jinx the Jets and the Dolphins would whoop their ass, which turns out worked out really well. So
really did.
You're leaving out the part that last week when the Dolphins were playing the Titans, Joey said, "I'm done with the Jets. I'm a Dolphins fan now."
Right.
And he totally fucked us.
Yes, there you go.
That's why everybody was wearing their baby puke green.
I'm wearing it right now. I'm wearing my green and black.
Andy's so upset about it, he switched to Flanagan Cubs.
Nice on the green.
Yeah, absolutely. No more green.
Andy, you should give us a sandwich on the Jets here.
All right. Positive. You play in one of the greatest cities.
Oh, I thought you were going to say divisions.
On Earth, except you actually play in New Jersey, which, is kind of lame. And then on the plus side, maybe Aaron Rodgers comes back and plays for you next year.
I hope he comes back next week. I'm rooting for the Achilles, the radical crystal implementation surgery that he had in his Achilles that made it heal. I think it's onyx that allows your Achilles to grow back fast, but it could be tourmaline. I'm not a mineralologist.
I think
eat it?
you
rub it on?
I think you just need an obelisk in your dark room, and you're good.
Oh, is your dark room your butthole? Because that's how I work.
It can be.
All right. Next team we've got here that has been eliminated is the Tennessee Titans. I'll let one of you guys do the compliment sandwich here. But before we do that, just Tennessee's fall from grace has been amazing to me. Like, for a while there, they were a playoff team every year. Everybody loved Mike Vrabel. Like, Tannehill was not great, but he was getting it done. Derrick Henry was amazing. And just like, I don't know what happened.
Yeah, so the answer is two things happened. One, well, maybe three. One, they decided they didn't want to pay A.J. Brown, and they were going to draft his replacement, and they drafted Treylon Burks. And
who?
I'm not going to dog on Treylon Burks, but he and A.J. Brown, it's very easy to distinguish between the two. I'll say that. Two, they thought Ryan Tannehill was good enough to sustain that team, and then he wasn't, and he can't stay healthy, and now they're forced to do these backup situation, which honestly they probably should have just rolled with Levis from the jump, and they probably would have been better off this year. And then third thing would be, I don't know if it's a lack of usage for Derrick Henry or O-line, or if he's finally getting if age is catching up to him some, but he's not been the same productive running back this year. So that wasn't a compliment sandwich. That was just shitting on the Titans. But we got Jags listeners. We don't need to be nice to them. Mike Vrabel's handsome.
I think age is a lot to do with it. I think they've kind of stayed the course and not gotten younger and equally good. They've been good on defense forever, and they have some really. Landry's a really nice piece. They got some really nice pieces, but they haven't been able to piece it all together. And to your point, Derrick Henry's getting older. Like his ability to work to this point has been just phenomenal. He is a freak where everyone else dies in that league. But you only got so many of those yards in you. I do think Levis looks a lot better than I expected. I thought he kind of sucked in college, but I think he's been fine. And to Al's point, I think he would have been better starting all season. I could see them bouncing back with a few adjustments in their strategy, but yeah, they're just too old. They're too old, and they're not athletic enough.
Yeah, they must have like a salary cap issue or something. Like, who are they paying? Like, who are the stars they're paying? That because like, I can't think of like guys they're. I mean, I guess probably Derrick Henry, but
probably where everyone else is paying running backs like $7 million. They're probably paying him like in the 20s, and he's earned that shit. Don't get it twisted, but he's just a little bit old, man. And I say that next year he's going to be freaking awesome.
Does anybody have a compliment sandwich, or is that sufficient?
Yeah, I think that was good enough. A rose and a thorn.
All right, next we've got the Washington Commies. They have been eliminated from playoff contention.
I'll do this one. A great story franchise, kind of fun team to watch this year. I hated that they traded all their young talent away because they didn't think they were going to be able to pay them. Sweat and Chase Young are fun. They've done a good job drafting, and I also think Sam Howell, for someone I hated in college, is kind of fun. He gets rid of the ball. He turns the ball over too much, and he gets sacked way too often. But he's like a Jameis Winston level of fun to watch. He does things where you're like, okay, yeah, like I didn't know you had that in your repertoire.
He's like a Cleveland Baker.
He is like a Cleveland Baker. That is a terrible stadium with some of the most obnoxious fans on the earth. And they got rid of all their good players. Congratulations. What did you want for Chase Young? You were hoping to get a first-round pick to get another Chase Young. Good luck. And I think I said all the positive stuff. I did this in a bad order, but c'est la vie, Commanders.
Thank you, Matt. And then finally, we've got the Arizona Cardinals. They have been eliminated from playoff contention. I guess I'll do this one. Arizona, in a part of the year where most of the country is pulling out their winter jackets and their boots, you continue to have lovely, warm weather. Congratulations. On the shit side, you're not very good at football. And then on the plus side, you're in a spot to draft a new quarterback. So good luck getting Caleb Williams, who had a huge fall from grace this year. So good luck.
Question for you. Do you think they draft a quarterback? I don't think Kyler's looked that bad.
No, he's definitely not been the problem.
I don't know.
A lot of talent with that top pick if you trade it down or you draft it around him. And the problem is next year's quarterback class is going to be really bad if you're not sold on Kyler. I don't know what you do here.
Because I don't know if it's a talent thing as much as it is like a dysfunction / like not on the same page / I don't know if they think Kyler has the right temperament or mentality to fit with the front office. They had a whole like sort of quarrel in the off season and all that about like, is Kyler the guy? Is he playing Call of Duty or is he studying film? That whole shit. So I could see that. I also think drafting a new quarterback and like having the approval from the front office to do that buys you more time, and I think their coach would probably be on board for something like that. So yeah, I think it makes sense for them to draft a quarterback if they're positioned well to do it.
Yeah, because Kyler was like Cliff Kingsbury's guy, right? Like, and he's
Yeah.
gone. He's in Taiwan or Thailand somewhere. No, not really. He's back.
That's true.
He's back in football. You don't remember that? He got fired and he bought a one-way ticket to like Thailand and just disappeared for like 3 months.
I forgot about that. That's awesome.
Yeah, he is back. He's in football somewhere. I don't remember where. But yeah, I mean, just most head coaches want to go with their guy, right? Like they want to be able to pick somebody. So I wouldn't be surprised at all if they go with somebody. But
Well, I could see Kyler Murray being really good in somewhere like Atlanta.
He's currently a senior offensive analyst and QB coach at USC.
Oh, well, fair enough. I could actually Kyler Murray, Carolina Panthers collision course next year. I think they're going to realize Bryce Young isn't the fix, and that maybe they don't have their first round pick. Makes perfect sense to me. I think they have the salary cap space, and it's got to be an improvement.
Who on earth would take the Carolina Panthers head coaching job?
Not Frank Reich, obviously. Frank Reich got fired in 11 games, and that job stinks.
And every time he talked about his job, it sounded like he wanted to like slit his throat in front of the audience. Like that man hated every second of being the head coach of the Carolina Panthers.
It sounded like one of those hostage videos where someone gets like, say you're in Saudi Arabia and you're like,
ISIS beheading video.
Yeah. I really think the way they do business here is great. It's very coming of the Western world to adapt.
Like Frank, why is your
treating me
head
very
shaved,
well.
and why are you emaciated?
Yeah, he's Morse coding SOS with his eyeballs. Like, yeah.
Oh, poor Frank Reich.
I love Frank Reich.
Yeah, I don't know if I love Frank Reich. I've got no problem with Frank Reich.
Frank Reich's getting paid the double buyout right now, though.
Oh, that's the life, man.
Yeah,
he's getting the payout.
Manja.
Scam the Panthers at the same time. Ooh.
This is the second year in a row he's been fired as a head coach mid-season, right?
Yeah, he was fired 12 games. He has literally worked in 12 games since his last firing, and he's getting a double payout. Wow, yeah. That's a good time to be Frank Reich.
Unbelievable that you would get fired mid-season, hired again the very next season. Usually you get like a year as a coordinator somewhere or something at least, right? But
yeah, it's time for him to go to like
Bama,
Iowa, and be the OC. Bama's I was
going
going to say
New
like Northwestern or something. I'm trying to think of like some like middle of nowhere school to just like go be a legend at. But yeah,
no, everybody goes to either Bama or New England or both.
The Bama rehab system they have there. Yeah. He's going to be really good at Bama. They're going to score points with Frank Reich.
All right, let's go ahead and get into this week's picks. We started this last week. We just get all the long teaser legs out there. Pittsburgh from 2.5 to 8.5. Atlanta from 2 to 8. Houston from 2.5 to 8.5. Dallas from 1.5 to 7.5. And Tennessee from 2.5, 8.5. So those are the long teasers that are available as of this recording on Tuesday night. That could be different by the time you listen, but that's what's available right now.
Yeah, I lost my ass a little bit on these last week.
This past week was brutal for the teasers. First, Pittsburgh didn't cover on Saturday, and then one of them didn't cover on Sunday. Who was that? The Cowboys.
Well, also the Chargers were a wong. I don't think we listed them last week because I don't think they were, but that they ended up becoming one, and that was the Thursday night game, and they got blown out, and it was like, okay, all of a sudden, 2/3 of these are dead before we even get to Sunday. But yeah.
I think the only two I hit were Miami and Kansas City, and neither of those would have even needed the teaser. They both covered with it.
Yeah. You could have parlayed them straight up. You
could have alt-lined them like -20.
I could have pleasered it.
Yeah, there you go.
All right, getting into the actual picks. Thursday night, which is Christmas Eve. We've got the Saints going in to play the Rams. Al, you got a pick on this one?
Yeah, I'm sorry, Matt. Cover your ears, Danny. If you're listening, turn the volume down. I am going with the over 46 in the Saints-Rams game. I think the Rams have put up like 30-plus points like 4 or 5 games in a row. I don't know how much the Saints are going to contribute to this, but I do think combined they should be able to clear the number. So this is just kind of like a theory play. Also, I'm pretty sure we mentioned this last week or the week before that primetime unders have still been really good this year, but they've been like exceptionally bad on Thursdays.
Yeah,
I
it's been the Mondays and
I
Sundays.
think you'd have made money betting the over on Thursdays. So
You
yeah, well, we just hope that keeps going.
Yeah, I normally. I'm not going to bet
anything?
the under this week. Yeah, which means it's definitely going to hit, but
Yeah.
I just can't do it anymore. I've lost too many dollars.
Abandoning your
If I didn't
principles.
bet the unders this year on Thursdays as a structure play, I'd be doing so well in this game. I think I've lost.
You are doing well despite it. So I mean,
I know.
you'd be,
I know.
where would you be?
I'd be doing far better. I think I've won 4 out of like 14. It's like a really bad number.
All right, so that's our only play on Thursday night. Then going into Saturday, there are 2 Saturday games. Christmas Eve for those of you counting. The Bengals are playing the Steelers. Nobody's got a pick on that one. Anybody have a comment, or should we just keep moving?
I want to backtrack to the last game. I feel like you could almost pencil in Danny for the Rams team total over in that game. That was his bet this past week, and it hit. And it feels like that might be a better way to bet instead of the over. If you're a little sheepish on the total, you could think the Rams team total over, but we'll just leave it for now. But I just wanted to mention that because I think, Matt, you mentioned that earlier.
Yeah, I like a team total over in situations like this. There's a game coming up with the Chargers involved that I know people like the over. It may be smarter to take the Bills team total over here. Not like LA has much of a home field advantage. But yes, I kind of like team total overs in scenarios like this where you think one team's going to score and you don't know what the other team's going to do.
So that game that Matt alluded to, the dummies he's alluding to are Alan and myself, who are both taking the over on that Bills at Chargers game Saturday night, 8 p.m. I locked it in yesterday. I got it at 42.5. Looks like it's at 44 now. I like it either way. The Bills are going to score a ton, and I'm hoping that Eason, after a week under his belt, settles down a little bit and plays a little bit better than he played last week.
Yeah, they seem to figure things out a little bit in the second half of that game. I also think that it's just a conflagration of various things that just derailed that game early and often. So I think another week. I also don't think the Bills' defense is particularly good. But I do think the Bills have figured things out offensively, at least, and they're primed to make a run for the playoffs. So I'm on the Chargers here as well. I don't love it, but there's 2 systems at play here that are essentially forcing my hand, and that being the double-digit home dog and the team that didn't cover being the Chargers last week against the team that did, being the Bills. So I'm going to take the Chargers plus 11.5 is where it's at now, and that over 44. And I think at least one of these will cover. And I think there's good reason to think they'll both cover, or if one covers that the other one will also. So.
Yeah, I'm with you on that as well, Al. 11.5 is too many points in the NFL for a team that isn't just like absolute hot garbage. And the Chargers are not. They got rid of the biggest problem, which is Brandon Staley. R.I.P. Brandon Staley's head coaching career. But they're not just like a dumpster fire as an organization the way that the Commanders and the Panthers are. 11.5 is way too many points for this.
I mean, add in the new coach bump too.
Oh yeah, that's 3 principles there.
Yeah.
You got to do it.
Does that put the team total at 27.5, 28, something like that? because if it's over 28, I understand being trepidatious, but like that's a lot of points in the NFL. But if it's 27.5, I would strongly consider the team total. I know they haven't announced those numbers yet, but
Yeah, it's gonna be, right. What did you say? What number did you say?
27.5, 28, right?
Yeah, I was gonna say 28. Yeah.
Yeah, 27.5 is what it
16.
shows. 27.5 and 14.5.
Yeah, you may want to. That may be a number worth playing.
Or maybe Buffalo first half over 14.5. I don't know. It's a little crazy.
Yeah, but to Al's
mind that.
point, the offense does look good, and I think they threw it like 16 times the other day. They like Big Ten West them to death because James Cook was awesome. He was ridiculously good. They're running the ball. So, yeah, Buffalo looks like they're primed to try to make a playoff run here.
It's so frustrating.
It is. It really is.
All right. Moving on to Sunday. Sunday at 1 p.m. The Colts taking on the Falcons. Al, why don't you go first on this one?
Yeah, so this one just stinks to high heaven, and I hate it. So obviously I have to bet it over 44.5.
Yeah.
Some defensive points, maybe?
Oh, maybe, just one of those random games where it just
Well, both teams do like to score in like the low 20s, so it depends how low those low 20s are. I'm going to be on the Atlanta teaser here. I know Andy alluded to the teasers at the top of the program, but I do like Atlanta here, keeping the score within 8.5 points. Indianapolis is fine. They have a playoff run. Atlanta does not have much to play for, but I don't see them beating anyone by more than 8.5 points.
I like that a lot. Matt, you want to just keep us going because the next game is the other leg of that?
Yeah. So to Al's play of take the team that didn't cover versus the team that did cover, we have Seattle going into Tennessee. Tennessee lost a heartbreaking game at home to Houston, got themselves eliminated from the playoffs. Now, they may be packing up their stuff and moving their cars home. So this is a little bit of a dangerous spot. I do think Tennessee is the right play to make here on the teaser number. So I'm going to take it at plus 8.5.
I'm just going to lay into it straight up. So Tennessee plus 2.5. I think they can win this game. And then I'm also taking the under. So I'm expecting Tennessee's defense to show up. And then, I don't know how their offense will fare, but expecting a low-scoring Tennessee victory here.
All right. Why don't you keep us rolling there, Al, into Minnesota?
Yeah, so I actually bet this at Detroit -3. It's at 3.5 now. I'm still going to take it. I think the Lions clinched the division for the first time in over 30 years with a win against Minnesota here. They actually would have clinched a playoff spot if the Eagles had won last night, but they did not. So they haven't clinched it yet, but they may. I don't know. I guess I don't think the Thursday or Saturday games affect their ability to clinch. So actually, Rams loss might have it, but I think they're out for blood here. I think they want to shut this thing down because after this game they have the Cowboys in Dallas, I think, and then they play the Vikings again. And so you lose to Minnesota, you lose to Dallas, and Minnesota beats Green Bay next week. All of a sudden, you've got, last game of the season is for the division. That nobody wants to be in that spot. So I think they're out for blood. I also think Nick Mullins had a fine day this past week. I think he is especially bad. I don't think that's.
He's a jag.
Yeah, he's not going to have the kind of outing he had last week. And I also, to put a bow on it, I think the Lions defense played inspired football for the first time in like a month and a half last week. And I'm hoping this is just a sign of things to come going into the postseason here. So give me Detroit -3.5 at Minnesota.
Hell yeah. Let's go. Let's clinch a spot.
Hell yeah. Lock it up.
Yeah, without the Pasternaut, I think I like that. And whether he plays or not, he's not the Pasternaut anymore, right?
He's always a pastronaut.
Yeah, he's been demoted to pass general.
Juror.
I don't know, pass corporal. I don't know.
We'll come back to you, Al. You think on it for a while. So I'll take the next one. I'm doubling up on this next game. Commanders at Jets. What a stinker. Don't watch this. These are two teams that are already eliminated. They're in New Jersey. It's going to be gross. But Washington +3 and then under 38. Like a low scoring, close game here. Like I said, don't watch it. It's going to be gross.
Yeah, I think you summed that one up perfectly when you said but.
Nice. Well done there. You
Nailed
redeemed yourself.
I always told you guys I'm a man of quantity, not quality.
Yeah, you put up shots. You're the Gilbert Arenas of this.
Yeah, you just chuck it enough, and one of them's going to win eventually. Packers at Panthers. Al, what do you got for us?
Yeah, Panthers just won for the second time all season. Packers, I think, are on like a 2 or 3 game skid. They're still in the playoff picture here. I don't know why this spread isn't more than a touchdown. They're going to hammer the Panthers. I mean, the only thing that gives me like slight pause is if it ends up being exceptionally cold in Carolina this week. That field is awful when it gets below freezing or like, down in that range. So obviously the Packers are used to cold temperatures, but the field conditions are terrible in Carolina when it gets cold. And that could be a game leveler. But I still think the Packers are going to win this one, and they should win this one by multiple scores.
Nice. And then we got the final 1 p.m. game on Sunday. Cleveland going into play Houston.
Great game. That's a fun game.
Last I
It's a
saw,
hard one to get a read on.
I was seeing that C.J. Stroud not expected to clear protocol in time.
Still, that's so sad.
Yeah,
that's not great.
That takes away a lot of the excitement for me. I wish he was playing because, I'd be super excited about this if Stroud was playing.
Because this is a game that really matters for Houston, especially, right? DeMeco Ryans has had a great season, probably coach of the year with that Houston team. And they're the first team out of the playoffs. And if Indianapolis or Cincinnati mess around at all this weekend, they'll be in the playoff picture with a dub. So I'm rooting for Houston this week because I love the chaos and I like what they're building there.
It's Case Keenum then.
Who the hell played?
It's early in the week. I'm still holding out hope that CJ Stroud goes. If he goes, I think this is a coin flip game that I wouldn't probably bet on. If he's out, I think I would bet the Browns. What, plus 2.5? I think is where the line is. So
the Browns are favored. So,
minus 2.5.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Matt, you mentioned the Texans head coach, DeMeco Ryans, another very handsome man. Have you guys noticed that?
Oh, super. He's been super handsome for years. He's looked great.
I'm sure he has, but I didn't notice it,
There aren't very many ugly, like, NFL players.
That can't be true.
No, I beg to differ.
I mean, if
Davis
you exclude
Mills?
offensive linemen, maybe. But
Mike Glennon and his quadruple neck.
I counter with Vince Wilfork.
I haven't seen Vince Wilfork recently. Let me see.
He's a handsome dude if you're into the big ones.
Yeah, he's
more cushion
gorgeous.
for the pushing.
Gorgeous.
Cuffing season. He's not good looking. His face is not very good.
Come on.
Not even the size aside, right? I don't hate on look. I'm big man friendly by all means, and in the Stride household.
This is a big man friendly podcast.
Yeah, he's fine. He's fine. Like he's not. I wouldn't say he's handsome, but he's not ugly.
Nah,
All right. So that's a yes from all of us to DeMeco Ryans.
Yes, he can get it. Yeah.
4:00. The Jags going into Tampa Bay. Matt, why don't you kick us off with this one?
Yeah. Jags need to get right. They need to get right in a big way. They're going across the state 2.5 hours to Tampa Bay. This feels like a get right spot. Jacksonville didn't cover, Tampa did cover. All those things roll up into saying take the 1 point with Jacksonville. Just bet them on the money line. Jacksonville will win this game. They need it. They need this game because Indianapolis is creeping around, and so is Houston.
Yeah, so I really like the Jags to win this game. One thing is I think Trevor Lawrence is in concussion protocol, so we'll see what his status is by the time the game rolls around. I expect this to be a low-scoring game. The Bucks' run defense is good. The Jaguars' defense is not particularly great, but I don't think the Bucks' offense is very great either. I don't know what the hell happened last week with the Bucks, like taking it to the Packers like that. That game seems like such an anomaly to me. I think things kind of swing back this week. I also think the Jags have dropped 3 in a row. This is not a team that, I mean, obviously before that losing streak started, this is a team that people were talking about potentially being the 1 seed in the AFC, right? They've had a pretty tough schedule. I think they've lost to San Francisco and Baltimore, and I think there was like a Dallas loss in there. So they've had a rough go. But the Bucks are not on the caliber of any of those teams. So the Jags should be a lot better. That's assuming with a healthy Trevor Lawrence. I think their backup is CJ Beathard, who is capable of beating the Bucks, but I wouldn't bet it in that situation. So caveat being, if Trevor Lawrence is a go, then bet the Jags +1 and then under 43.
I think it's important to note that Tampa Bay is currently in the playoff picture, so they do have something to certainly play for, and they're tied with New Orleans. They have the tiebreaker, so they need this win. Jacksonville kind of needs this win too. I know they don't need it to the same level as Tampa Bay.
I think they need it more than the Bucks do.
Yeah.
This is essentially whether they're going to win the division or not comes down to this game. There's currently a 3-way tie with the Colts and Texans for the division lead. They have the edge over those teams on tiebreakers, but they have, I forget who, I know they play Tennessee in the last game of the season, but I think they have another tricky opponent next week. So they really need to win this one to stay ahead in the division, I would think.
Yeah, so they play the Buccaneers, then they play the Panthers, and then the Titans. Like, if they don't get this one, hope isn't lost, right? Because that has to be the easiest ending schedule with the Panthers and the Titans.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
All right. Then at 4:25, the Cardinals going into the Windy City to play the Bears. I'm taking Arizona +4.5. Kyler has not looked that bad since coming back. 4.5 is too many points against a Bears team that's not very good.
Yeah, I'm going to take the over 44 here. I think you get a couple of mobile quarterbacks and a couple of teams that I don't think are as bad as maybe their records show, or as bad as the sort of public perception is. So I think we could see this could actually be like a sneaky, really good game. So
yeah,
nice.
This feels like a frisky game. This feels like a game that'll be fun to watch. Sneaky, fun watch. Actually, all these games in the 4:00 window seem really fun on paper. Like, I know the numbers may not look like Arizona, Chicago is like combined 5 wins between the two teams, but this game's going to matter. It's going to feel fun.
And I probably should have led the picks with this statement, but if you're tailing all of these picks, I would probably play these totals at like a half unit and the spreads at a full unit. But that's just a buyer beware.
I think it's important to know he said unit. All right.
Yeah, half unit.
Half unit.
Huge.
All right, our last game in the 4:00 window, 4:25. The Dallas Cowgirls are coming into Miami to play our Dolphins. We have the first of 2 mini cyclones here. Obviously, Danny and Sunshine aren't with us, so they don't have picks. But the 3 of us that are here are all aligned on this one, and we've got another one coming up in a few minutes. So, when do you guys want to take it away and tell the Tell the people what we're on.
Go Al. You're
All right.
not
Dallas plus 1.5. And it's sad that you guys don't have the faith in your Dolphins here. I think the fact that this game's in Miami could make it interesting. I think if this game were in Dallas, Dallas being favored by 1.5 would get hammered. But Dallas getting a 1.5 on the road, I think really is going to come down to how well Miami can run the ball, in my opinion, which is to say they probably won't do a very good job. I think Tyreek should probably be back for this one, I would think.
think so too.
So that can complicate things too. But I think Dallas is just steamrolling right now. And I don't think the Dolphins have played very well against quality competition this year.
No, they've lost all the games to the teams that have a current winning record, which is a really stupid stat because if you beat teams and then they don't have a winning record anymore,
And
what are you supposed to do with that? It's like,
yeah.
well, there you go. You took a team out that had a winning record. Now they're 500. Yeah, I do think Dallas played very poorly last weekend against Buffalo, like ridiculously bad. And I don't think that is a repeatable. I think that is more of an outlier than it is a concurrent situation. They're going to back-to-back games on the road in the AFC East. Buffalo is a much harder place to play than Miami, even if the weather was good. I am happy seeing Tyreek Hill back, but everything in my soul says that you got to take the 1.5 points here, even though it breaks my heart.
Yeah, I see these as both teams that have just incredibly wide ranges of outcomes. Like, there's no team in the NFL that it would shock me if you told me the Dolphins beat that team or the Cowboys beat that team. But there's also no team that you could tell me that they lost to them and that would shock me either, right? Like, they just.
I mean, Dallas lost to Arizona, right?
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. That's exactly my point. So,
and I don't think that was a close one. I think
It
they got
wasn't.
their ass kicked by the
It was like
Cardinals.
a double-digit loss. It was like a 10-1 loss.
Yeah, and the so yeah,
Dolphins.
I wouldn't shock me if the Dolphins win by 40, or if the Cowboys win by 40, or if it's a close game. I think we're getting a little bit of value here because the Dolphins just stomped the Jets and the Cowboys lost to the Bills. So I'm taking the points, right? Like, again, it wouldn't shock me. The Dolphins could win 40-0, and I wouldn't be like, oh my God, that's crazy. But if you're giving me points, I'm taking it because I think more likely than not, it's going to be close.
Yeah.
So that's our first Cyclone, Dallas plus 1.5. This is also a good teaser leg. If you're not interested in taking Dallas 1.5, you can tease this up to 7.5. Gives the Dolphins a little more room to win, but still let Dallas cover.
Yeah.
All right. And then into the really just exciting prime time. All eyes will be on this. Can you guys imagine anything else you'd rather be doing at 8:25 p.m. on Christmas Eve than watching the New England Patriots play the Denver Broncos?
It's a tough one. It's a tough one. I'm going to debate about watching A Christmas Story for the first time 12 times in a row. I think I'm going to do A Christmas Story.
I was just going to say, what Christmas song best encapsulates watching Patriots Broncos on Monday night or whatever, Sunday night on Christmas Eve?
Blue Christmas.
For me, it's got to be like Same Old Lang Syne by Dan Fogelberg. Like, so depressing. And you're like, what?
What's the one about Daddy's bus crashed on the way home from work?
Oh, yeah. It's an old-fashioned Christmas or something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Quick conspiracy theory. Normally, the NFL tries to take a really good game and put it in primetime, right? Did they do this on purpose? Because they're like, it's 8:25 on Christmas Eve. Like, people are going to be with their families. They're going to be drinking the eggnog. They're going to be leaving cookies out for Santa. Let's just put a stinker in there because nobody's going to watch it anyway.
I mean, yeah, the better games are on Monday, so they could have pulled one of those games for Sunday night if they wanted to, I think.
Yeah. All right, Matt, you do have a pick in this one?
Yeah, this stinks. Take the 6.5 of New England. I do think Denver is regressing to our expectations. I think they have improved year over year, but I think the improvement is kind of capped out. I don't believe that Bailey Zappi will be great. I don't. But I do think that New England's defense will travel well. And I think plus 6.5 is probably the right number. If you get it at 7, hammer the shit out of it. But plus 6.5. I think the game is going to be close.
I was really hoping this line would be like lower, thinking that, the Broncos just got their ass whipped and the Patriots, did they win last week? Or no, I don't know. I think they played well. So, I was hoping we'd be more around a field goal range here, and then I would be all over the Broncos, but 6.5 feels like it's a little too much room for things to go wrong. So, especially with the Pats defense is legitimately very good.
Yeah.
The Pats did win 2 weeks ago. They beat the Steelers 21-18, but then they lost to the Chiefs this past week.
Yeah, but that was a close one though, right?
They lost by 10, but they played the Chiefs played bad.
They did,
and they won by 10.
Especially at the beginning.
Maybe it was the cover that was close.
Yes.
Okay.
And Matt, it's funny you mentioned pounding the 7. I'm trying to come up with a joke about how much I would have loved to pound some 7s in college.
I wish I had 7 to pound with.
Hey,
that's a lot, Al. Come on.
that's a good number.
I was looking for a 7 on this one, and I would have considered it strongly if I'd seen the 7. So.
Yeah, I know 6.5 puts it in risk, but I do think there's value to the 6.5.
What's the total on this game?
Sure.
It feels like.
I guess
That's
41 would be my guess.
34.5.
Yeah.
Ooh,
Supposedly opened at 41. I don't know if that number's accurate, but 34.5, that's pretty low.
That's crazy low.
You may have bad weather, Denver, Sunday night too. Who knows? This could be real messy.
Yeah.
And in messy games, I trust Bill Belichick. I feel like he thrives in terrible situations, terrible conditions.
It would be a fun game to watch if it's snowing.
Yeah, I may put it on. I'll probably be doing my responsible things and watching Christmas Story, but I may flip
Keeping
it
an eye
over.
on Santa Claus, checking on Santa radar, or whatever it is.
Checking the Santa tracker, see if he's over the house and whatnot.
How many times do you think they'll mention the NORAD Santa tracker? Because they're in Denver too, which is close to that, right? Like
1.5 times. Over under 1.5. Over 2.5 times.
Two and a half is a better number.
We should check the books and see if it's on there.
1.5, I would have hammered the over.
Yeah, I think they definitely mention it twice. Whether they mention it again, I don't know.
That's a good number. A good number, Matt. All right. And finally, for our dessert on Christmas Day, we've got 3 games starting at 1 o'clock. The Raiders playing the Chiefs, and this is our second mini cyclone. Matt, why don't you kick us off with this one?
Yeah, this is going to stink, but Kansas City has shown a propensity to have a very good defense this year, but their offense has looked out of sync. Kadarius Toney ain't it, right? Like we can just say Kadarius Toney ain't it, and everyone knows what I'm saying, right? Their receiver room ain't it. Rashee Rice is trying his best to be it, but he ain't it. With that being said, I do think Vegas looks okay. They look okay. I think this game will stay close-ish. So I am going to take the +10 with Las Vegas.
Yep. So I agree. Second, I think Antonio Pierce has earned that job. They should take the interim off, and he should stay the coach there. I think that team is night and day different from the second Josh McDaniel was out of the building. Defense plays inspired ball. Offense is capable, even with Aiden McConnell, whatever it is, under center. So, yeah, I think they can keep it close. And then the other thing I want to say is, how much football are you guys going to actually be watching on Christmas Day? Because I'm pretty sure the answer to me is 0.
I think I'll probably have it on most of the day. But as far as actually like sitting on the couch, beer in hand, feet up, very, very little. Maybe none. But I'll have it on a TV somewhere. muted.
What does your Christmas day look like, boys? Like, are you building toys? I know I do a lot of toy building and like putting things together and like playing. 1 o'clock is a very precarious time. I'm not going to be watching much football at all.
We're going to 3 different Christmas parties on Saturday. Then we're going to 2 Christmas parties, I believe, on Sunday. And then Christmas Day, we are spending the morning at home, thank God. And then we're having people over for like a happy hour kind of thing. I hate how much shit we have to do at Christmas. It's so much. But just the way the cookie crumbles. I ain't the boss.
Yeah, we'll be with my family and my parents. Most churches have a Christmas Eve service, but for some reason their church has a Christmas morning service. So usually what we do is like let the kids open the stockings, so they have like something to look forward to and play with. Then we'll all go to church and then come back and open presents, which usually will be done like around 1. And then we'll eat like a late lunch. So it'll be perfect to flip this on while I'm
Your
like
kids,
you said, putting the batteries in the
you make your kids go to church before opening presents? How the hell does that work?
That's why we do the stockings first, so they have something.
Yeah,
that was my childhood. My entire childhood was church Sunday morning.
Yeah,
it's important to my
Christmas
parents.
Eve,
So.
Christmas Eve, like midnight mass is the move. Obviously, with like little kids, I think they do earlier services than that, but I think Christmas Eve is like the move if you're gonna do a church service, in my opinion.
Yeah, well, I'm down from 52 church services a year to 2, so
Hell yes.
I'm trending in the right direction.
That's a win. You could spend the whole day at church on Christmas Day and still come out ahead. So.
So yes, I am on this as well. Raiders +10. I know Matt hates it so much when we talk transitive property in football, but the Chiefs just beat the Patriots by 10, and the Raiders are better than the Patriots. So it's too many points.
I hate it now. I'm gonna lay the points with the Chiefs because
I did that just for you. That's nothing to do with why I bet it, but I did that just for you. 10 is too many points. Quick side note. Last year, I watched a college football game, where Tommy DeVito played Aiden O'Connell. And at no point during that game did I say that either one of them looked like an NFL quarterback.
Yeah, what a weird time, man. Like, Tommy DeVito, I know everyone loves him because of the Italianness, and his agent is getting more press than him now. But I'm happy. They both look like they belong in the league enough, right? Aiden O'Connell was Purdue. Am I right about that?
Yep.
Yeah, and Tommy DeVito's Illinois.
Yeah. Well, just for 1 year. He was Syracuse before that.
Now I'm wondering like what the current season bowl equivalent is. Like what bowl game this year is featuring 2 terrible quarterbacks that are going to end up starting in the NFL next year. But there's too many games. I'm not well versed enough in every college quarterback situation.
That's a great question. I'm going to write that down
right now as we talk about these games. Yes,
next week's college pod. Tune in. And then I do have one other pick on this. I'm also taking the under. The Chiefs have been staying in games with their defense. Their offense is not the same high-flying offense that we've come to know and love. Also, I know Travis Kelce got hurt last week. Does anybody know if that was serious or I only know because they kept showing Taylor.
I don't know, but I don't think it was serious. But I don't know for sure.
Either way, even with Kelce, they haven't been the same offense. If he is limited in any way, then I love this.
Yeah, I think teams have figured out that the Chiefs don't have a secret Tyreek Hill. So it's a one-man show on offense, and they can essentially double team that guy, and the other 9 guys on defense can, man up or take care of the other 5 weapons or whatever they've got out there. So. Yeah, I'm really surprised the Chiefs don't run the ball like a ton. Because you would think in that situation that you just, motion Travis Kelce out into like the slot or move him away, run it away from him. So they've got a bracket coverage Kelce, and then you've got, an advantage in the box, I would think.
They
But
were running the ball a lot. Pacheco wasn't available last week. And Pacheco's been kind of the lifeblood of that offense. As weird as that is to say, he's done a lot of the dirty work and moving them down the field. And he's been a really good drop down target. When they get to McKinnon, their offense dies a little bit. They use McKinnon more in the red zone. And I have an answer for the bad bowl game.
yes.
It is going to be, it may not be next year, but in 2 years, you can expect, write it down, everybody, in where the hell is it? The Liberty Bowl. Memphis will play Iowa State this year. Rocco Becht and Seth Hennigan, those two quarterbacks will be in the NFL somewhere, and someone will get hurt and they'll play each other. I hope that happens. No, but they both have.
That.
I'm setting a calendar alert for
the 1 hour and 5 minutes in.
And Seth Hennigan.
December of 2025. Was it Rocco Becht?
Rocco Becht and Seth Hennigan.
I was gonna say who it's Pavia or Loria or something. Deloria for Arizona, and who's Arizona playing a bowl game?
Arizona. Well, they've started a different guy this year. Jaden Deloria isn't it? Fafita, who's been awesome for him. The problem with Fafita is, and this is not the right podcast for this, he's like 5'8", but boy, he loves to throw the ball down the field. I know, Short Kings.
That's actually pretty tall.
Yeah, I'm saying as far as an NFL quarterback, he's a little bit on the short side.
Who did New Mexico State play? Sorry,
They played Fresno State and got that ass whooped. That's Diego Pavia.
Yeah, okay, Diego Pavia and his Fresno State's pig farming.
Christ, I don't remember.
You keep doing this. It's not Fresno State.
Maybe that's my pick.
All right. So that's enough on the Raiders. Chiefs. Just to wrap up, our mini cyclone is +10 on Vegas, and I am also on the under 42.
Mikey Keene.
Yeah. Oh, from the UCF. There you go. Sorry. Let's do the
all done. NFL.
We don't have any picks on the fighting Tommy DeVito's going into play.
I so wanted to
Jalen
bet.
Hurts.
I so wanted to bet the Giants, but
I still might. It's like 13. Yeah. It's too many points.
Can you tease that to 19? Does that make sense? Well, I'm just saying.
No, I mean, if you were gonna tease, you'd need to tease it like through 21. I feel like
points just aren't valuable enough once you get above
14 and 17. It doesn't make any sense. I would never tease that big of a number, right? Like it's too many points.
They're +12 right now, but
it's funny just because it's hilarious.
Yeah. No. It's like, can I tease it up to 18?
Yeah.
I think if Philly would have won, or if this game were in New York, I'd probably bet the Giants.
I would at 12.
But it's in Philly, and they're coming off that loss, and I think it's like
they're going to throw snowballs at people for sure. It's going to be like
and batteries.
Yeah, that throw snowballs at Santa Claus. You're just going to throw snowballs at everybody.
Yeah. I know I just said points aren't that valuable once you get to this range, so I should probably just bet it based on what I'm going to say. But if it gets to 14. I'll probably bet it.
Yeah, 14 seems like a good number. You should tease it up to 18.
I might. What other game should I tease it with? How about the Chargers +11.5?
It's a 17.5. The dumb
do a 3-leg with the Raiders.
Oh yeah, I love it.
The dumb teaser of the week.
Dumb double digit teaser. All right. And then our nightcap on Christmas, the Baltimore Ravens, who have looked really good, going into plays the 49ers and frickin' Brock Purdy. It's unbelievable. Although I do feel better about the Dolphins lost to Brock Purdy last season now. I don't know if anybody else remembers that.
Yeah.
Al, why don't you kick us off on this? Baltimore playing San Francisco.
Yeah, so I really like San Francisco. I think they probably are the best team in the league. Baltimore is playing probably just as good, but when I watch Baltimore play, all I can think of is the Jesse Pinkman meme, like, he can't keep getting away with this. Like, that's how I feel about the Ravens. Like, I don't know how they do it, but 5.5 points is the spread here. I think San Francisco wins, but Ravens keep it close. So I'm taking the Ravens.
Yeah, I'm taking the Ravens also. I don't know if it was before we started recording or if it was on the podcast, but Matt said the key in the NFL is to never bet against the 49ers and always take the points, which is generally a pretty good strategy. But this is a league where any team can beat any other team. Yes, San Francisco is one of the best, if not the best teams, but Baltimore's right up there in that conversation.
Yeah.
They've been really, really good. And you're giving me 5.5 points. I'm taking the points every time.
Was this was the matchup in the Super Bowl with Colin Kaepernick, right? When
With the Harbaugh
and
Bowl,
the blackout.
The blackout bowl for sure.
So do you think they referenced that, or do you think Colin Kaepernick is such a dead name that they don't want to?
They're more likely to reference the blackout and the Harbaugh Bowl. I bet they don't mention Kaepernick.
Over a half in both of those, and then the Kaepernick's not even on the board. As far as betting would be my idea.
I actually heard a fun conspiracy theory about that Super Bowl, and that the Asian market was, I forget which side it was, but it was super exposed on one of the sides, and the theory is that they had had someone cause the blackout in the hopes that the game would get scratched and the bets would get canceled, and then they could cancel the bets. But
wow.
I don't know. I think there's an article online somewhere, you could probably pull it up. But if you're looking for time to kill at work on a Wednesday, do some Googling, see if you can find that.
All right.
Yeah, I've been a little bit different in play. I'm not going to bet against San Francisco, especially when they've been at home. They've been kind of a wagon. I don't use that term for NFL teams very often, but they've been the closest iteration to a wagon that I've seen. I do think both teams will score. I don't see San Francisco not scoring. I know we talked about the primetime numbers being real bad. Christmas Day isn't really primetime, probably, but there's been 3 games on Monday at this point. It's a weird number to say. I like the over 47 here. I would not play it 1 point higher. So if you get it at 47, play the over. If it's at 48, stay the hell away from it. But over 47, there is value on that number.
So the 49ers have the longest win streak active in the NFL with 6 games in a row. It is so hard to win so many games in a row, which makes me want to take Baltimore, which I am, but the Ravens have the second longest win streak in the NFL at 4 games. So either way, we're going to still have a 5+ game winning streak going after this game. So it might be a good spot to fade the winner of this game next week.
And it could be a Super Bowl preview, right?
Yeah.
All intents and purposes, right? They're both teams leading the AFC and the NFC. This could be something you see in mid-February.
Yeah. So this is not a value play, and you should absolutely not do this. But since we were talking about dumb teasers, you could tease that down to 41, and I would love it.
Yeah, 41. Okay, so you pair the Giants plus 18 and take down the
Now
total
we're teasing
41.
totals now, Andy.
Yeah,
I preface this with it's not a good play.
I like it.
But
I'm going to do that. I'm going to
Listen.
make that play. I'm going to make the dumb.
And if we're talking about it, there are some key numbers with totals too, right? And 42 is one of them. You're crossing 42.
I was going to say, let's take the 2 lowest totals of the week, tease them down, and take the over. So what would that be? That would be over 30 in Green Bay, Carolina, and over 28.5 in New England, Denver.
Those are after you teased them.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean it's not
Godspeed.
Or do you
But
tease those up and take the under? I don't know,
But it's
yeah.
fun. I mean,
Yeah.
I am going to make that my chuggy bet of the week. I'll bring the chuggy bets. I'm going to make the dumb teaser. I'm going to take the Giants plus 18 and really don't do this, everyone who's
No.
listening. This is a
No.
very bad bet. And I'm going to take the total of Baltimore and San Francisco over 41. And I'm going to make that my chuggy. 18.5.
I can get you an 18 laugh.
a little juice on that. That's going to be my chuggy bet this
That's
week.
the
'cause it's
difference
so
maker.
funny and dumb. Let's do it.
It could be. It could be.
Why
All
would
right.
42 be a number in a total? Because it's very few times where 42 will hit where the score is not tied. right? So are you saying as far as a tie? I could see 44 being like a key number, or 45, 42. I heard you say that. I was curious about that.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's just because it's like 6 touchdowns is right there, right? Like, so
I guess 28-14 at that point is the same thing as 21-21.
yeah. So,
Sorry, I didn't think about that. I always think of these
you're
games being very close, right? And 42 is like, if it's tied at 21-21, then who cares?
42, 40, and 48 are like the big total numbers.
Yeah. Well, that's what I said. Don't take it over 47.
Yeah. No,
47 is the number, the maximum number to take that over at.
You're dead on with that one. Yep. All right. I think we all gave out our Chuggy bets. No, not yet. I'm taking the Chargers plus 11.5. Al?
Yeah, so mine was going to be Jags +1, but then I remember Trevor Lawrence concussion protocol. I don't want to dick around with that, so I changed it. It's going to be Packers -4.5.
And Matt, your dumb teaser is
I'm
your
doing
Chuggy
the
bet?
dumb. Let's do the dumb teaser of the week.
All right. I love it. Thank you, everyone, for listening. We appreciate it. Good luck. Make lots of money. Make some memories with your families on Christmas. And make it.
Happy holidays, everyone.
Yeah, cheers. Thanks for listening, peeps.